So you're going to slow down on what you're creating on Earth. You're going to slow down on what you're trying to achieve and accomplish. You may or may not want to launch a new business at this time, is my point, because it takes so much energy to burst something new like that. Sensei is telling you you're about to go into a quiet time with yourself, and you're going to want to be lazy. Hello, my friend and earthly neighbor, and welcome to another fabulous fun-filled week in 2017. This time, it's the first week in April, and Mother Nature is not fooling. You'll be shifting to a higher character, one that's tied to the story you were born to live. From my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your weekly Namaste Today. Welcome to Namaste Today, a blissful way to begin your weekday. I'm your heartfelt host and the Sensei to Serious Joy, Christopher Witecki. Welcome back, my friend. Namaste. Well, this week I argue you are shifting gears and preparing for a holy shift. Right now we have Venus retrograde, which means old love stories and fate are coming to the surface. Saturn is conjuncting the galactic center, which means it's time to get serious about what we were born to do. And Saturn will go retrograde this week, which means the universe has no more information. It's go time. So in today's episode, I'm going to help you out in a couple of ways. In the segment this week, we'll talk about the gear shifting and give you a play-by-play for each of the days and how you can maximize the shift and minimize the friction. And then in our tea time, I'll talk about the holy shift and I'll break it down for each of the 12 signs. But first, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Monday, April 3rd to Friday, April 7th. Looking at your 5-day mood cast. Well, looking at the week at a glance, it's going to be kind of slow in the beginning of the week, but things pick up on Thursday and Friday. Let's drill down. On Monday, it's sunny and stop down. A grand square will cause business to stop and you to reflect. On Tuesday, it's sunny and calm. You'll be feeling peaceful, but not too sure on where to go. On Wednesday, it's cloudy, introverted, and spiritual. You'll be looking to your inside spirit to know where to go. On Thursday, though, you're feeling sunny and empowered, ready to make decisions, and Saturn goes retrograde. And on Friday, it's sunny and sharp as you're ready to act and you shift into the new character. In my opinion, we are actually shifting gears. We're shifting out of the story we were born with and moving to the story we were born to live. In our next segment this week, I'm going to talk about the play-by-play of that shift. Taking a sneak peek at the upcoming week, I coined this week Shifting Gears. Now, you've probably driven a standard vehicle or ridden a bicycle, so we all know kind of this concept of shifting gears. You're pedaling or going super fast, but you want to go faster or you want to spend less energy. So you shift gears and you end up getting more out of less. But as you probably know, in the beginning, shifting gears is not that easy. And in my opinion, people are shifting gears from the story they were born to the story they were born to live. This is a big gear shift. Now, that said, this week kind of is all about shifting that gear. And don't worry, the universe really takes it easy on you. In the first beginning of the week, it's Monday, and everything is stopped down. We actually have a grand square. The moon is causing it. The moon is in Cancer. So people are emotional and they're moody. And what you're doing in the beginning of the week is you're feeling that this gear doesn't work. This speed doesn't work. The way you're doing it doesn't work. It just doesn't feel like it's going smoothly. And I think a lot of the universe is exposing in the first 2 days, hey, here's everywhere it doesn't go smooth. Yes, last week we got out of certain ruts. Over the weekend, we transcended out of those ruts. But just because we're out of the rut doesn't mean things are going smoothly. So on Monday, don't expect it to go smoothly is what I'm saying. And what you're searching for is the right gear. You're searching for the right speed, the right action, and the right momentum or direction. So don't feel bad. It's kind of meant to just all stop and figure it out. Now, Tuesday, things get a lot more peaceful, especially if you listen to your heart. It's going to be sunny and calm. It's a step 15 day. And what you're doing is, although life is moving forward and we're kind of showing up, in the background, you're really discovering with yourself what will bring you peace, what will make you feel at ease. Remember, Monday things felt kind of icky. Tuesday, you really want to be at peace. And so I think you start to find at least your stride, if not the right gear, on Tuesday. So you kind of find your stride, things kind of get going. Then on Wednesday, things get really spiritual. It's actually one of the most spiritual days of the month. It's a step 16 day, which adds to a 7. So our spirit is talking to us. And Venus has retrograded back into Pisces. And one of the questions that we're all asking as we shift gears is, where are we headed anyways? Okay, that's one of the big questions. And so I think there's a lot of spiritual exploration about where you believe you may be headed, where you believe you might change direction. And you may have had a soulmate situation unfold since Venus went retrograde. You might have had a love story start or a love story end. And so these questions are indeed coming up. On top of that, it's a fated moment with Saturn conjuncting the galactic center. So a lot of curveballs and new information have come our way. So Wednesday, I think, is a very spiritual day. The moon moves into Leo, so that's super good. That means that your emotions will be with your heart, and you'll be logged in the spirit. And those are really the two voices that know. Your heart and your spirit know where you're supposed to go. So Wednesday, just give yourself a break and don't expect anything major. And try to open up to your higher self. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to the symbolism of your life, because the universe is trying to speak to you. Now on Thursday, things really get empowered. In fact, I say sunny and empowered is the feeling. You'll probably wake up feeling pretty good. In fact, as we move through the spring here, we wake up in one step, but we very quickly move to another step. So it kind of always starts feeling like yesterday when you wake up, but then the day will click in around 10 or 11 or noon, depending on where you are in the United States, or in the world for that matter, forgive me. But Thursday is a day where you're feeling really empowered, and I think you come to a decision on Thursday like, okay, I think this is the gear, and I think this is the direction that I'm supposed to head. Now, ironically, as soon as you make that decision, Saturn goes retrograde. And that's a huge deal. So the last 6 months have been very intense. Saturn is direct for about 6 months. And we've been learning, growing, breaking down what our beliefs are, coming up with new theories about the way we believe it should be. All right. And so whatever this decision is to shift gears or shift direction that comes on Thursday, it is the last little chapter of Saturn in Sagittarius for now. The universe has no more information to give you, no more of the story to unfold. It's now time for you to go out and see how this works for you. So the good news is a lot of the challenge will be off. Saturn direct is really strict and really hard on us. And the good news is in your personal life, all you got to do is decide what gear should I be at and which direction should I head next, and you're out of the ring for 6 months. And we're going to have a bit of a break on the story we were born to live. So Thursday we make a strong decision and Saturn goes retrograde. Then Friday things get really sharp. Things technically don't move ahead until Friday. Remember, Venus is retrograde, so a lot of people are backpedaling. Mercury is starting to slow down now because it's going to go retrograde in the beginning of next week. And so life is really slowing down, and for most of the week, I think you're going to feel like it's all internal and not so much external. But come Friday, it's a step 18 day. That adds to a 9. Aries is a 9, and that means on Friday, things just suddenly bolt ahead. And it may be from you coming to these decisions and being clear, and it may be that you don't have the decision, you're not clear, and things bolt ahead anyway. So the masters plan and manifest. Everyone who is a grasshopper gets caught up, and they get forced to make choices or decisions because the masters have moved ahead. Either way, I think the story will definitely move ahead on Friday. And then over the weekend, you're kind of realizing and digesting what this shifting of gears really means and where you believe you may be going. All right, so this leads us really to our next topic. I want to talk about what this gear shifting leads to. I call it a holy shift. So go steep yourself some tea. And let's have our weekly tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is holy shift. I think that's what we're going to say in about 2 weeks, because I think that's what's going on. We are shifting gears this week, but I argue this is a holy shift. This is a shift that humankind was meant to make. I think it was something we planned before we incarnated, and I think it's something that's destined to be. So first of all, no pressure, okay? I think everyone will be led to where they need to be. There's not really any big screw-ups happening right now. It's more about observing so you can understand the story you were born to live. But let's first describe shifting gears. I kind of talked about this in the last segment, but I want to get a little deeper. I don't know if you're a runner or if you do a lot of cardio, but I run on the treadmill at least twice a week, 3 times if I can. And there's something I've always noticed. It's like once my body starts warming up, like around 8 minutes or so, in the first 8 minutes, I'm like kind of running hard, I'm panting hard. You know, it's like I'm very aware that I'm running. You know, I'm trying to like kind of relax into it, but you're just kind of revved up, okay? And then at some point, usually around 8 or 9 minutes, like I don't change the speed of the treadmill, but suddenly my feet stop going as fast. So instead of like dun 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 dun, I'm like dun 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 dun. At some point, I shift gears, and my body moves into this rhythm where I'm running just as fast, but I'm taking it in stride. It's kind of like shifting to a higher gear in a car, same sort of thing. So as far as practicality is concerned, I think everyone's going to shift gears this week. I think we've been running really hard. I think we've been trying to like feel strong. I think we're getting hit with all these different energies and all these different changes. With Saturn and Sagittarius, our beliefs just got blown out of the water starting last October, and we have been, you know, trying to catch up ever since. So we have been running hard and kind of panting, and I think this is the week where we kind of go, okay, I'm starting to get the hang of this. Maybe I'm not going to drown, right? But also, this is a cosmic shift for mankind. I think each of the 12 signs is shifting out of a certain pattern they were born to. I think this pattern is based on ego survival. I think we've been working on it every time Venus retrogrades in Aries. We've been chipping away at this. And I argue, because of the outer planets and other things, that this is the time, this moment, where the human race is really going to grow up a bit. A lot of people have been asking me about politics and Donald Trump, and they've been asking me about, you know, Republican Congress and why is everyone going back and forth. Honestly, I think everyone, you know, in Washington, D.C., you know, they ran for office, ran for power, and then as soon as they got in power, which was January, and we move into this point, Venus retrograded, you know what I mean? So everybody was running out with this old ego, and suddenly Venus has retrograded, which is like making everyone reconsider and shift gears. It's forcing everyone to grow up, so nobody's really exempt. Don't feel bad. Now, I think, honestly, this shifting of gears, like I said, is a huge moment for each of the 12 signs. And I wanted to take this episode to actually talk about each of the signs, which I haven't done in a long time. So I'm kind of happy to return to some of my roots here, doing astrology for all 12 signs. And this way you can kind of understand where your gears are shifting, and you can maybe understand where your loved ones' gears are shifting, because that's one of the things. Everyone's story is changing now. I did a segment last week about people do change, you know, and this is one of the times where people are changing. And so no matter what you're observing from people's behavior, whether you've been with them forever or they're new, realize everyone is under construction. Everyone is a hot mess, okay? And it's kind of hard to tell where they're going to shift. So I thought it'd be good to talk about it. Now, the reason I'm talking about this, just for astrological reference, is all the planets and where they are. Saturn is on the galactic center, which means we're being told to follow the story we were born to live. We're aligning our life with the eye of God. And Saturn goes retrograde, which means there's no more to teach now. It's time for a birdie to leave the nest and give it a try. Venus is retrograde, as you well know, which means that we are going back to an old past life story. We're bringing up past life love, and we're re-examining the way we love ourselves. So that's a huge piece of our personality. Mercury will go retrograde next week, and that's probably after we shift gears. As soon as we shift gears, we're going to be like, whoa, I need to think about this. But that also means we're going to be rewiring our thinking. And later this month, Pluto goes retrograde. And Pluto is the big bulldozer transformation energy. And that means transformation will be on hold. So all these different construction vehicles of the planets working on us, all of them coming to a stop now and setting us free. So it's very clearly, to me, the cosmic shift. So let's talk about where people are shifting and a little bit about each of the 12 signs and their stories. I'm going to do it by element because I think elements share things in common, of course. First, I'll start with the water signs. The water signs at large, if you're a water sign or someone you know, the water signs are changing what they regard as success, and they're changing their material values. That's what they're shifting now. The Pisces, this is all going on in their second house. So Pisces are really shifting out of the old story of poverty. Okay, so Pisces have many Pisces born in poverty, born feeling poor, and now they're moving into confidence, and they're going to be past their money issues. And it's interesting, Aries is what drives a person, and what drives a Pisces really is confidence in money. Okay, even though they're spiritual, and that makes sense because they are spiritual. The Cancers, I think, are shifting from being very unclear about their future to decisive. They won't be clear about their future, but they're shifting gears from being unclear to being decisive now. The Scorpios, this is all going on in their sixth house, this shifting of gears. And I think for the Scorpios, they've been living pretty much tired their whole life. If you know a Scorpio, they're just so tired, right? Like, they were born tired. It's because they bear the responsibility of a lot of stuff they carried on their emotional shoulders. So I think this shift of gears for them is from tired to feeling strong. And I'm seeing that in my Scorpio friends and counterparts. Now, the earth signs, like myself, all these changes of shifting gears towards a new story, this is very private for us. It's hitting us in very private places. So all the earth signs are hiding right now, me included. I think the Tauruses are shifting from living a worried life, which is what Tauruses do. They worry something will go wrong, and they got a lot of worry energy, to feeling competent in life, really feeling strong. And it doesn't matter what age you are, by the way. I've noticed that kids, 18 years old, Tauruses will feel suddenly very competent, where before they're feeling worried at age 16. So you'll see the whole age bracket change. Virgos have been very guarded, if you don't know, and I think they're going to finally start to open up. Okay, I think that's the big Aries shift for them, and this is huge. I don't think I think every Virgo on Earth was born guarded. I think every Virgo on Earth is going to start to open up, is what I'm saying. This is a holy shift. The whole sign is changing, I think, for good. Capricorn, I think, have always been very unsettled. Even though they look grounded and stable inside, they felt unsettled. That's a lot of the reason why they climbed so much. But now I think Capricorns are going to feel comfortable, which is good. That's the best word, comfortable. Not like kings or queens yet, but finally comfortable. The fire signs, because Aries and Saturn and Sag is affecting these two the most, the fire signs are really changing their mission, their direction, and literally what actions they're going to do. The Aries are the most effective, right? I think Arieses are moving overall from an aggressive or defensive posture, which are where many Arieses have been, either aggressive or defensive, to feeling really smooth. I think for once it's going to be smooth sailing for Arieses. I think they're going to finally feel like things are moving smooth. Dare I say boring, okay, because that's hard for them, and moving into that smoothness will be hard. The Leos, this happens in their ninth house, I think they're moving from a confused state. I think most Leos have been confused this whole lifetime. I'm a Leo rising, I'll admit it, okay, and I think now they're moving to a learning path where they believe they're going to learn the correct thing now, and that makes them feel a lot better about themselves. The Sagittariuses, okay, I think are shifting from a feeling of abandonment. A lot of Sagittariuses go running off trying to find love because they feel abandoned, they feel left behind, and that's why they'll never leave you behind. And I think Sagittariuses are shifting now to feeling found, and what they found was themselves. They didn't find someone else or whatever, they found themselves. Then lastly, the air signs. The air signs, I think their human connectedness is going to change with this shift, okay? The Geminis, I think, were feeling kind of lost. They couldn't find their place in the world, could not find where they belonged, and now they're going to feel discovered. So I think Geminis are going to find a place in society where they feel discovered, and I think that shift happens again this week. The Libras, I think, have honestly felt very dysfunctional with their relationship with themselves, which is a mirage. So Libras have been in a dysfunctional mirage their whole life, and now they're moving to a functional mirage, which sets them up for good marriages. We'll talk about that another time. And then finally, the Aquariuses. The Aquariuses are changing the way they think, thank God, because I think they were closed-minded. Up until now, every Aquarius on the planet was closed-minded. And I think they're moving to a more open-minded perspective, which is really preparing them for their destiny and where they belong on Earth. So, in a nutshell, everyone is making a cosmic shift this week. Everyone is moving forward and shifting gears. And your friends, your family, everyone is going through it. So try to be compassionate and loving to yourself and others. And just do your best to try to find your stride and find the direction you're supposed to be. All right, friends, I've got more than one dog running around here, if you didn't notice, jumping in the frame, and I'm just keeping it here straight and narrow. Now, if you don't know, we have a fabulous club on the internet, on Facebook, for people to come and hang out. You can post things that you do. If you're a light worker, you can post your services. You can post your art. People share spiritual gifts. It's a nice place. It's a good vibration. You know, a lot of places on Facebook feel kind of icky. I'm real proud that our club feels fantastic. You can come and visit us at namastetoday.club. All right, friend, I hope you feel this holy shift and find yourself on the other side of that obstacle, on the other side of that wall you've been looking at your whole life. And I'll be back next week with more to help you through the shift. Until then, remember, I love you and live, love, be.